Well guys, it's time for another Woodswalk Rambling video. PA Bob Christoph left a comment on the last one, which gave me a pretty good idea, so you could thank him for this. He was asking about, if I could give maybe some information on what I do as far as finding places to hunt, scouting, stuff like that. And actually, nowadays, I'm pretty limited on where I hunt. I mean, I only have a couple places I go. But in years past, there were certain things I did. Hear that barred owl? Pretty creepy when you're out here in the woods by yourself. But anyway, one of the things I did before, a lot of times, some of the places I got for hunting were actually just going down the road, maybe seeing deer cross the road somewhere. And then maybe another day I seen the same thing again. So a lot of times I would start knocking on doors, asking permission, try to find a place to hunt that way. Mostly what it comes down to is you gotta have to knock on doors to get permission. And I know especially like with farmers, they're pretty particular about who they're gonna let hunt. All it takes is one bad experience with a hunter. They're not going to let anybody in there, or only people they trust. I'll tell you what happened to me one time in West Virginia. Me and a buddy went down, we were riding around, knocking on doors, asking permission. Seemed like as soon as we told them we were from Pennsylvania, they just automatically would say no. So we're going around this one farm, we could see deer in the field. This was a month or two before the archery season even started. Seen a couple deer in the field. Went up to the barn. We talked to the farmer. He asked us, where we were from. We said Pennsylvania. He said he had other people hunting. He didn't really need any more hunters. So we just stood there, talked with him for a while, asked him about his cows, how many head of cattle he had. He had a dairy farm. Asking just different questions. Basically just small talk. And after a little bit, he goes, well, how many Uvians are there? I said, well, they're just us two, and there's another guy that'll be with us. He goes, I'll tell you what, he says, I'll let you hunt. So all it took in that situation was just to talk with the guy. Just let him know, not just take no and walk away, which maybe you should sometimes, but just talk with the guy a little bit. And it come to be that me and that farmer became pretty good friends. I mean, I talked to him a lot. I'd go down there in the off season just to talk with him, ask him what he was seeing. But one of the things we did after we got permission at a place, and we did this at a couple different places we hunted, was we would send a Christmas card. A lot of times, our last trip down there for the fall, we would get him a big ham or a turkey or some kind of gift, just something to give him and thank him for letting us hunt on his place. And we did that to other farms too. But one of the things I look for, that's one of the things you want to do to keep permission at a farm. When it comes to scouting, if you're walking in the woods, trying to do some scouting and you jump deer, a lot of times I go over and investigate, like, why was that deer there? Was it eating something? Was this a bedding area? I try to figure out why that deer was in that spot. Now, especially if, thought I heard something there. Especially if you're, you jump deer in the same spot several times. Well, that's a big giveaway right there. Because for some reason, those deer keep coming back there. So that's one of the other things I, notice when I'm in the woods. In addition to tracks, trails, food source. Food source is a big thing I hunt around. This place here, we're going to check cameras, taking a couple deer here in the past. Apple trees, a couple isolated apple trees, out away from everything. There's nothing around, except for those, those apple trees. Now, if there's acorns on the ground, white oak acorns, that's another food source. You really, really want to check out white oak acorns. Now, I noticed around here, not every year is a good year for white oak acorns. Some years are really good, some years not so good. So if you could, I got a video on how to tell the difference between red oak and white oak. You might want to check that video out. I'll put a link in the description. Those are a couple things I do, you know, as far as finding places to hunt. I know other guys, you know, pretty much the same thing. Well guys, I wanted to kind of show something here. See this tree here? That's where a bear has been clawing at. For years and years that's been there. They claw it to mark their territory. It's a smaller tree here. They've been doing the same thing too. I don't know if we can see any bear hair in this. See a couple small strands of hair, not a whole lot. Thinking about setting a trail camera up on this. See if we get some pictures of a bear, but from the looks of it, there's been some machinery in here, and good chance that camera will come up missing. One farm I used to hunt, the farmer, the property owner, he liked deer meat. He didn't buy beef. He didn't like the idea that they put a lot of chemicals and stuff, so he really liked deer meat. So I would give him a deer or two. I mean, at that time I hunted West Virginia and Pennsylvania, and I always had, you know, extra deer tags I would fill. But I'll tell you what happened. That farmer, he used to have his ground open to, you know, to just about anybody. Well, one time he got in an argument with one of the other hunters. He asked somebody to move a vehicle or something, and they got smart with him. So he told him not to hunt. And because he was enrolled with the Game Commission, the hunter started to argue and say that he had a right to hunt there because he was with the game, you know, his property was involved with the Game Commission. So he got fired up, posted his land, didn't let anybody hunt except me and one other guy. And it was like that for years. And the one reason he let me hunt is because he told me right to my face, he goes, "You're the only guy, me and the other guy, we're the only two that showed any kind of appreciation for his land." We would offer him deer meat, we would close gates, pick up garbage, and we showed respect. And that is the biggest thing. If you do get permission, you got to show some respect for that landowner, because you could be one of the guys that that gets kicked off. I know that, you know, it's hard to find good places. I hunt a lot of public ground. That's where I'm at now. It's actually a state forest. So I'm kind of limited on the places I hunt nowadays. I had that aortic dissection, so I had the surgery on my heart. I have a valve, artificial valve now. So I get out of breath, as you can tell right now. But I have to limit, you know, places I hunt, because if I get a deer, I hunt by myself, and I really doubt I could drag a deer very far through the woods. So the places I hunt now, the one place in particular, I'm allowed to use an ATV. That really helps me out a lot. If I get a deer, I can get it out with the ATV. And I know, you know, a lot of places you're not going to be allowed, a lot of property owners, as soon as you mention ATV, that's a big no-no. So that's one thing that hurts me. And I will say one thing that probably hurt me a lot in the past that I did was whenever I had success on a piece of property, I would hunt that property a lot. I mean, I'd come back year after year. I knew the patterns of those deer. I knew everything about, you know, how those deer moved on that one piece of property. But when the time came and I lost the property, just like that place where I gave the guy a deer, you know, I gave him a deer every year, he ended up selling his ground for that Marcellus shell. He ended up sold the property. But when it came time that I lost the property, I didn't have anywhere else to go that was good, because I put everything in to one or two properties. And I'm actually in that same boat today. I didn't learn from my mistakes, but you know, when you only get a couple days off a week from your job, and you want to go to a place where you think you're going to have a lot of success, you're going to go to the places you know best and you know how the deer travel, rather than waste the day off experimenting on a different piece of property. So as far as advice, I really don't have a whole lot of advice other than get in the woods and scout, find your food sources, your bedding areas, transitions, try to set up in between. That would be your best advice for any piece of property. Alright guys, I don't know if this video even helped anybody. Just want to ramble as I walk through the woods. Thanks guys, thanks for watching.